Imagine sprinting down a field, trying to cradle a ball in your stick while also dodging defenders, and then scoring a goal. Well, this is a normal occurrence for lacrosse games. Today, I'll be teaching the basics on how to play. First, I'll go over fundamental stick skills, then I'll explain basic positions and goal gameplay rules, and then finally, I'll go over important rules on fouls. So, I've played lacrosse for several seasons regularly. I've practiced skills that I'll be talking about today, and I've studied the rules through basic coaching and just experience in general. So, my first point is the fundamental stick skills every lacrosse player should know because they are the basic, most important skills, which are cradling, passing and catching, and ground balls. So, cradling is the most essential. It's how you keep the ball in your stick while you're running down the field. So, here is my lacrosse stick. I got it for my first year and I played with it for 2 years and I got a new one. This is my first one, so it's sentimental, but so whenever you are cradling, you have to make sure that this is called your pocket, that your ball stays within this pocket. It can't poke over too much or else it'll just come right out if you're cradling. Because cradling, you have to keep this hand still and this one constantly moving so that people can't get the ball out of your stick, which is dodging the defenders. And if your pocket is too shallow, it can just slide right out. Or if it's too deep, then it's actually a foul and it goes against you because not everybody is supposed to have that, so only the goalie. So it'll go against you and you will get a foul. But it's basically makes it too easy for you to keep the ball in your stick, which is funny. But so here's my stick. Put that away. The second one is catching and passing, which is also very crucial for like teamwork and being effective with ball movement during the game, because if you're not passing the ball in game, then you're not going to get to score because that's how you get the ball down the field fast enough and beat the defenders. So it's a really crucial part of playing lacrosse. The third part is ground balls, which involves scooping the ball off the ground and getting to running with it to get away from your defenders. So one thing that people struggle with ground balls is actually shoveling the grass because you're coming at it from a higher angle. So people tend to shovel instead of scoop. So that's something that we tend to work a lot on with new people playing lacrosse because it's a very fast-paced game. So if you mess up a ground ball, then it's often detrimental to your possession of the ball because usually a lot of people are good at ground balls. So if you're not good at them, then you lose the ball, which can be in a second like another point for the other team. So now that you understand stick skills and the importance of them, let's move on to different roles that players have in game. So attackers, I was an attacker for all years that I played, and they're responsible for scoring and staying on the offensive side of the field. They can also, every player can play every position in their position, which is kind of confusing, but I'll explain it here. So attackers actually defend their position on the other defenders who are trying to pass the ball around and get it to their other side. So everybody's playing every position, but attackers' main goal is to score into the goal. So the people who get the ball to them, though, are the midfielders who play defense and offense. They're like on the entire field, whereas attackers only stay on their home side of the field so that they can score the ball, or the opposing side of the field, so they can score the ball. So midfielders are constantly running the entire field trying to transition the ball to our team and away from the other team's offensive players. Now the defenders are typically the goalie and all the other defenders on the field who are protecting the goal, using body positioning and stick checks to stop the other team from scoring. They're the ones who run the least, but their job is very important because without the defenders, the other team can score very easily. So now that you understand what players do on the field, it is now important to understand fouls and rules that keep the game safe and fair. So offsides is a common rule violation that happens when too many players cross over the midfield line. So you're allowed to have so many players, your offensive players, and which are the midfielders and attack players, past the half of the field. But if too many of them go over, then it's an offsides and the other team gets the ball and it gets turned around. So you want to make sure to not violate that rule because it can cause a very quick transition in the other team getting the ball and scoring. The next one is slashing. It's where you take your stick and you slash. A slash is where your stick is back here. Your stick cannot be past your head. It needs to be here if you're going to check. So the difference between a check and a slash is this is a check, this is a slash. It means that you're getting more momentum into it and you're really going at them too aggressively. It's basically an aggressive call. And that will give you a foul. I have experienced a slash foul. We all experience it. You get really into the game, but it is a penalty for the other team. So then that's another way that they can score against you easily. But the third thing is players must follow all safety rules by wearing protective gear like your goggles. I have these goggles. I have several pairs of goggles. We would share them with teammates if we ever forgot them or anything. But these are my goggles. They have the net here, the brackets to keep your eyes safe, and they would come around, and it had padding on it so it was more comfortable. And then I won't show my actual mouthpiece because that's kind of gross, but this is the case for it, and we would carry these things all the time. And then you have to make sure to have good cleats. These are my old ones. They're kind of they're not soccer cleats. They have the plastic spikes, but you need those to be in game because they are a safety violation if you don't, because you will slip and fall very easily. So now that you understand the safety rules and basic skills of lacrosse, let's wrap everything up. Today I demonstrated how to play lacrosse by breaking down skills, player rules, and rules in the game. We started by explaining the fundamental stick skills of cradling and passing. Then we went over the main player positions on the field, and finally covered some important rules on fouls that you need to know. As I close, many people think that lacrosse seems very complicated at first, but with practice and passion, of course, it becomes one of the most exciting and rewarding sports that you will ever come across.